Gurve Gaurachandaya Radhika Tadali Krishna Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Sri Nandanandanam Bande Radhika Charanadayam Gopijana Samayuktam Vrindavanam Bhajami Radham Aravindanatram Smarami Radham Udami Radham Karuna Badaram Tato Manoyas Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo, Ramo. So, first of all, offer pranams to our Gurudev, Vishnupad Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Also, our Guru Vargas, Sri Govinda Goswami Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Madhusudan Goswami Maharaj. All devotees, Hare Krishna. So today is chapter 13 of Jaiva-Dharma. This is the beginning of Dasmal Shiksha, Dasmal Tattva. So we hope everyone learned the verse. There's actually 11 verses. Did you learn it, Vasudha? Did you learn the verse? You have to learn today. One is sutra, means in one verse, all 10 tattvas are there, as well as 10 other verses. So can learn, it's not so hard. So already we heard the end of last chapter, Brajanath asked to Babaji Maharaj, did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu write anything? He said, no, only 8 verses of Shikshastik. But following Shikshastik, the Vaishnavas have made 10 Dasmal Tattva, which contains the essence of all the Upanishads, Bhagavatam, Gita and Puranas. So we'll come back tomorrow and hear. So Rajanath came back next day, and Babaji Maharaj, we don't know why, but he had developed some feelings of parental affection, Vatsali towards Brajanath, so he was also waiting. When Rajanath came, Babaji Maharaj came out very happily, and said, I shall explain to you the sutra of the Dasmal. So there is one Pramana Tattva. Praman means proof. And this establishes 9 Prameya. That which is established by Praman is called Prameya. So one Pramana Tattva and 9 Prameyas. That makes 10. So Amnaya Praha Tattvam Harim Iha Paramam Sarva Shaktim Rasabdim Tad Vivanam Saji Pukiti Kvalitam Tad Vimuktam Schabhavit Veda Ved Prakasham Satlamapi Sahari Sadhanam Sudha Bhaktim Sadyam Tad Prit Evet Upadeshati Janan Sagora Chanda Swayam Saha. So this is the sutra. So, Praman is the first. What is Praman? The teachings of the Vedas which have been accepted and passed down through the cyclic succession. This is known as Praman. Okay, so all Veda is not considered Praman because we heard already Vedas deal also with Karma Kant and Gyan Kant. No? Also so much Naimitic Dharma is there. For that reason, all Shastra is not considered as Praman in regards to transcendental subject matter. So that Praman, which means the Veda, sections of the Veda is accepted by Guru Parampara, which is also supported by other types of Praman like Pratyaksh, Hanuman, etc. Today we'll explain this. So this Praman establishes 9 things. What? Paratattva Hari. Sri Hari Krishna is the absolute truth. Sarva Shaktim. He is possessed of unlimited potencies. Rasabdim. He is the object of all loving devotion. There is Tadvivanam Sajiv. No? both the liberated souls and the conditioned souls come from him. They are his eternally separated parts and parcels. So there are two types of jivas, the liberated souls and the conditioned souls covered by matter. Then, okay, so what's that? Praman, Param Tattva, Sri Hari, Sarva Shaktim, Krishna, he is Akila Rasamrita Murti, the object of all loving affection. No. Vivanamsa Tattva, that is the jivas, also come from him. There are two types of jivas, conditioned and liberated. Krishna has a relationship with his potencies. He is both one with and separate from his multifarious entities. So Veda Ved Prakasham. And he is attained by Sudha Bhakti. And the goal is Prema. Tadpriti means Prema. Okay. So there is the first 8 is Sambandha Gyan, 9 is Abhideya or Bhakti, and last the Prayojan is Prema Bhakti. Okay, so in a quick way we discuss. So there are 10 fundamental tattvas established in this verse. I hope everyone learned that. Unfortunately, we don't have Zoom, otherwise we could test everyone. But I'm sure Fat Kanaya in Mexico has not learned it. That thing I'm sure. So, the 2nd to 8th describes Sambandha Tattva, the 9th describes Abhideya, and the 10th describes Prayojan. Okay. So, here the first. Rajana said, if I have any questions, I will ask. Okay. So, Swad, Siddho, Vedo, Haridayita, Vedaha, Paripritaha, Pramanam, Sad, Praptim, Pramiti, Sadayan, Visayan, Tad, Navavidan, Tata, Pratyaks, Adi, Prameti, Sadeti, Sahitam, Sadetina, Nayuktas, Tark, Akya, Saditi, Tata, Shakti, Rahitam. Okay. So this is the first of the Dasmal Tattvas discussing Praman. Praman means source of evidence. If you have question, then you have to approach the authority. So what is the authority? So Swad Siddho Veda. Krishna is self-manifest. He did not come from anyone or anything. So the inherent knowledge within Krishna is Gyan Sarup. So the inherent knowledge within Krishna, that is the self-manifest Vedas, Haridayata Pratama. That was first given to Haridayata Vedaha. Vedaha means Brahma. Haridayata means very dear to Hari. So the self-manifested Veda was first given to the devotee, Lord Brahma. And then from him down through the succession. So, the 9 Prameya Tattvas are established by these Amnaya Vakyas, what is passed down through disciplic succession, that is called Amnaya. These Vakyas are that follow the guidance of the Shastras as evidence. So the main Shastric Praman, the main Praman is the Shastras, that is called Sabda. But also there are 8 or 9 other types of Praman. We will hear from these now, like inference, direct sense perception, comparison, analogy. So what the Vedas accept, which is what the Guru Parampara has accepted, the Vedic statements, and also which is also supported by the other types of Praman. Therefore, mundane logic and reason has no entrance into transcendental subject matters. Therefore, it is Shakti Rahita, weak, and should be abandoned. Okay. So, Rajanath asked, is there any proof that Brahma gave instruction through the disciplic succession. So there, Babaji Maharaj quotes the Mondaka Upanishad. We heard from this the other day also. Brahmaji, who is the creator of the entire world and the protector of the worlds, is the first demigod. He appeared from the navel of Lord Vishnu. So he received Brahma Vidya from the Supreme Lord, Brahma Vidya Visruta. He heard this Brahma Vidya, spiritual knowledge from Supreme Lord himself. And he spoke this to his sons, including Atharva Manu. Okay. Rajanath asks, okay, do you have any proof that the rishis who compiled the Smritis have also given the same conclusion? Right, there's two types of Veda, Shruti and Smriti. Shruti means that which is directly heard from God. So what Brahma received, that is called Shruti. And Smriti means that which is also revealed in the heart of the perfected rishis. So Shruti and Smriti like two eyes. By these two eyes one can see the Supreme Lord. So Brajanath said, okay, Shruti comes directly from Bhagavan, so we can accept that. But what about Smriti? So if Shruti is like a tree, Smriti is like the fruit. Both are dependent on each other. So, Bhagavatam, Babaji Maharaj gives Bhagavatam as proof. Yes, Kalena Nasta Pralaya Baninam Veda Samjita. By the influence of time, the Vedas had become lost at the time of devastation. Right? At the end of one day of Brahma, everything is finished. Up to the planet of Brahma is destroyed. Then Brahma sleeps, and when he wakes up again, there is a new secondary creation. So at the beginning of the next day of Brahma, I again instructed Brahma in that same Veda. And Brahma instructed his son Manu in the Vedic knowledge. Manu instructed his sons, the Saptarishis, the Brahmashis headed by Bhrigu. Okay, so this from Guru disciple is called Sampradaya. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna discusses all this in 4th chapter. What is the need for Sampradaya? Rajanath asks. So Babaji might explain, actually most people are captured by Mayavad. This we'll explain later. Because the jiva is a part of the Surup Shakti, a very minute part. Therefore, he does not have complete and perfect inherent knowledge. So, unless he is nourished by the take shelter of the Surup Shakti, he cannot have perfect knowledge at all. So, by separate from the Surup Shakti is that potency which reveals the Surup of Bhagavan and the Surup of the jiva. That is also called Sutta Sattva. So without contact of the Sutta Sattva, the soul cannot have perfect knowledge. Just like everything may be in a seed, but without water it cannot manifest. So by his own self, the jiva can only have Brahma Gyan, impersonal knowledge, Brahmananda, impersonal happiness, and Brahma Gyan, knowledge of Brahman. By himself, he cannot have more than that. Therefore, most people in this world follow Brahmagyan or Mayavad philosophy. If there was no separate Sampradaya for Bhakti, then how people would know what is Satsanga and what is not Satsanga, because everything would be contaminated by Mayavad. Therefore, Bhagavan has made this system of Sampradaya to have separate path, a separate flow of pure knowledge. Shiva said, Sampradaya Vihina Mantrastu Nishphalam Bhaved, Sri Brahma Ruddha Sanaka Vaishnav Chitipavana. There are 4 Vaishnav Sampradayas which purify the entire world. That is the Sampradaya of Lakshmi, the Sampradaya of Brahma, the Sampradaya of the 4 Kumaras, and the Sampradaya of Rudra. So these 4 are Vaishnav Sampradaya. If there were no Vaishnav Sampradaya, it would be very difficult to attain genuine Satsanga. Of these 4, the Brahma Sampradaya, which we are lucky to have joined, is the most ancient. all these four Vaishnava Sampradayas adhere to the principle of Guru Parampara, means descending process of knowledge by hearing. No? There is not even the slightest chance that anything has been subtracted, omitted, or added. Perfect knowledge does not need our contribution or our editing. So, the Sampradaya is an effective and indispensable arrangement made by the Supreme Lord how the souls in this world can get knowledge. Rajanath said, can you give us the names of all the Vaishnavacharyas in disciplic succession? Babaji Maharaj said, well, that's since the beginning of creation, so only the most prominent ones have been given. I would like to hear the Sampradaya of the Brahma Sampradaya, the Guru Parampara of the Brahma Sampradaya. Then no need to repeat, but from Padavyama Narayan, he gave the knowledge to Brahma, Brahma gave to Narad, Narad gave to Vyas, Vyas gave Diksha to Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri's disciple was Narahari, his disciple was Akshobha Tirtha, his disciple was Jaitirtha, then Jnana Sindhu, Jnana Sindhu was disciple of Jaitirtha, then came Mahanidhi, Vidyanidhi, and his disciple Rajendra. His disciple was Jaiva-Dharma, his disciple was Vishnupuri, and his disciple was Brahmanya Purushottam, his disciple was Vyasatirtha, his disciple was Lakshmipati, and his disciple was Madhavendra Puri. Okay, this is the condensed essence of disciplic succession from beginning of creation down to just before the appearance of Lord Chaitanya. Okay, so now we discuss Praman. There are 8 types of Praman, or proof. Praman means way of establishing truth, ways of establishing something. There are 8. So, in the first, Shruti is considered the main, that is called Sabda Praman. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discussed with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Mahaprabhu also said Sabda Praman, or the Vedic statements, the infallible Vedic statements, these are the main source of evidence. So, but we heard also in the previous chapter, if someone has faith in karma or gyan, then the Vedic statements also support that. So what is to be accepted and what is to be rejected, that can only be understood by great personalities in the disciplic succession. So there are 8 types of praman. Pratyaksh. Pratyaksh means what I see directly by my sense perception, what I hear, speak, smell, taste, see, etc. Anuman. Anuman means inference. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Maybe true, maybe not true. Maybe someone has just thrown a bucket of water on the fire, so there is smoke but no fire. Sometimes there may be fog which looks like fire, smoke, so you assume there's a fire but there is no fire. So anyway, so this Anuman is not perfect also. Pratyaksh sense perception is not perfect because our senses are also not perfect. I cannot hear what's in the next room. I cannot see what's going on in the next room. So also Upaman. Upaman. Analogy. Anuman. Upaman. So, Upaman means, some also say comparison, Upaman, analogy. Like, imagine you're explaining to an Indian what a zebra looks like. Maybe an Indian has never seen a zebra. How do you explain a zebra to someone who's never seen a zebra? It's like a donkey with black and white stripes. Okay, right, that's But a donkey with black and white stripes does not give a perfect idea of a zebra. But this is also one idea. You can make some conclusion, but that is upaman, that is not perfect conclusion, analogy. Sabda, that means sabda brahman, we heard that already. Aitija means babushka parampara. I heard, whatever, I heard if you eat garlic at night, then you get liver cancer. Who said? My grandmother said. Who said? Her grandmother, her grandmother, her grandmother. True or not, who knows? But Aitija, this is called historical evidence. Some say, I heard like this. Like, for example, in Delhi, some say this was the fort of the Pandavas. Who said? Histories. Babushka Parampara. May be true, may not be true. Arthapati. Inference from circumstances. Arthapati. For example, Kanaya is very fat, but he does not eat in the daytime. He doesn't eat in the daytime and he's fat. What does that mean? Probably he's eating at nighttime a lot. But this may not also be true. Maybe he's chanting some mantra to some demigod and he's becoming fat by that, but he's not eating. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives this example in all these things he discusses in Madhurya Kadambini. So Arthapati, what is that? Inference from circumstances. Oh, she's very skinny. Why not eating? No, maybe has tapeworms, maybe has some sickness, maybe dieting. We don't know. So Arthapati is not perfect. Sambhav, speculation. I think. Right? No need to explain that. Sambhav. Anupalabdhi. Nityatarangini is not in class. Why? I cannot see her. But why? Because she is not here. This is called Anupalabdhi. Understanding something by non-perception. I cannot see her, therefore she's not here. No, maybe she's hiding around the corner. So you cannot see her, but she's still there. This is called Anupalabdhi. So there are 8 different pramans. So by discussing them, we can understand all are not perfect. All are not perfect. No? So there are so many opinions according to praman. So direct perception and anuman, logic. These are based on experiences, but these are also not perfect. How can we understand what is perfect praman? So Babaji said, pratyaksh means direct sense perception is dependent on the senses. But the senses of the souls in this world are subject to illusion, Brahm. Sometimes we look in the desert and we see, it's very hot and it looks like water is there. But you run into the desert to drink water. No, this is called mirage. Senses have made some illusion. Pramad, error, vipralipsa, cheating, and karanapata, imperfect senses. Like sometimes you're on the train and your train is not moving, but the next train starts to move and it looks like you are moving and that train is still. Have you seen that? Imperfect senses. Cheating means you give some wrong knowledge to someone. Doesn't mean you deliberately cheat them, but still out of sincerity you still give wrong knowledge. That is cheating. Okay, so these 4 defects means that pratyaksh and anuman, what to speak of the other 6 types of praman, are not perfect. 4 defects are there. But Bhagavan does not have 4 defects because his eyes, ears, nose and mouth are everywhere. Because his senses are perfect, he never makes mistakes. Because he never makes mistakes, he never cheats anyone by giving him perfect knowledge. And because he is beyond illusion, he never makes mistakes. If someone is captured by illusion, how can they make a perfect conclusion? No. But Bhagavan is free from these 4 defects. So, what he has given in the hearts of the pure rishis, the pure sadhus, is also free from defect. So in this way, both Shruti and Smriti is both free from defect. Shruti means like Ramayana. No? Who wrote Ramayana? Vyasadeva. Mahabharata, Valmiki. Who will say that they do not accept Ramayana or Valmiki or Mahabharata? No. Okay, so Bhagavan is perfect. What he gives, Shruti, that is free from defect. And what he puts in the heart of the perfected souls is also free from defect. Okay, therefore the Vedas are called Swat Siddhigyan. Do not depend on anyone else, they depend on themselves. Okay, what is the meaning of the 4 defects? So we just heard already. Okay, do Pratyaks and Praman have no value at all? No, they have value. What color is Krishna? Vasudha? Black. How you know? Because we see him every morning in the deity. Vasudha says Krishna is black because she is seen by her own eyes at Mangalati. So because what she has seen by direct sense perception, also matching with the scriptures, then we can say, yes, this is also true. Okay. So, anyway, so he gives more arguments because this world, especially modern age, people so much believe in this ascending process of knowledge, sense perception. The scientists, the chemists, the biologists. But this is all pratyaks and anuman. For example, years ago they found some jawbone. And from that this is prehistoric man, and they made I should research it properly. But they made a whole exhibition based on the jawbone of prehistoric man who was like an orangutan, and they made a whole village with children and everything. And afterwards someone discovered this jawbone was from a donkey. This is all Anuman, right? Oh, have a jawbone, this is from a human being. The human being looked like this, but faulty logic. So, in very simple way, pratyaks and all these other things, there's 1 or 2 that are not counted here. There's actually 10 pramans. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives Ingit praman, which way is the post office, and someone points. Or don't go there. They don't say anything, but they do Ingit. Ingit means indicate. No, but that's not perfect. And one other man, I cannot remember. It's called inclusion, the praman of inclusion. Like this pen is included in the pile. Anyway, like this. So 10 main here, but here Jaiva-Dharma discusses 8. So these 10 types of praman, they just give knowledge of this world. But they have no entrance into subject matter which is beyond matter. Therefore, the Vedas are the only praman for attaining knowledge of that which is beyond matter, or the spiritual world. The evidence gained from pratyaks and other pramans is only worthy when it follows the guidelines, when it also in the anugatya of the Vedas, then it can be accepted. Like Nakul is one of the Pandavas. Why? He's also he's included there, Sambhav. Anyway, so the conclusion is the Sabda, the Vedic statements are the only real Praman, and other things can be accepted if also in line with the Praman. Okay. Are literatures such as the Gita and the Bhagavatam not also considered as Praman? Yes, Babaji Maharaj says the Bhagavad Gita is also known as the Gita Upanishad. No, it is the direct instruction of Vani, the Vani of Bhagavan. It's spoken by Bhagavan, so it's also considered as Shruti. Yes, so the Gita is also Veda. No, the Bhagavatam also spoken by Bhagavan to Brahmaji, so Bhagavatam is also, you can think, is also Shruti. Also, it come from the heart of Vyasadeva to Suk like this, so it's also considered Smriti. This Dasmul is also Bhagavan's Vani because it's the instructions of Lord Chaitanya. What Lord Chaitanya spoke is also considered Shruti, and what was written about Lord Chaitanya by Kaviraj Goswami or by Vrindavan Das Thakur, this is also considered Veda. Okay. So, the instructions of all different, like Jaiva-Dharma, we also consider as Veda, because come from the heart of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Mahajan. So, the instructions of different scriptures are authoritative as long as they follow the Vedas, the Vedic evidence. There are three types of Tantra Shastras, Sattva Gun, Rajagun, and Tamagun, but we only accept Sattva Gun as Praman. What does Shiv Purana and all these other things, we cannot accept, because written for people of a lesser adhikar, lesser qualification. This is the first step in spiritual life. When Guru Maharaj would explain, this is the first step. If I want perfect knowledge, where do I go? Guru Maharaj said, if you want to go north and your first step is north, dead on, then you'll reach the goal. But your first step is 5 degrees out, you'll end up thousands of miles away from the goal. So these days people are also bewildered as what is Praman. So even Gurudev said, if it's also not been accepted by the Guru Parampara, we also can give up that instruction. Understanding is spoken due to time, place, and circumstance. Therefore, even Gurudev's direct statements may not be Praman. Therefore, we have the system of Sadhu, Shastra, Guru. Even Guru speaks something that also should be of some basis on the statements of the previous acharyas. And of course, the basis in the Vedas. So Gurudev taught us all these things. Sometimes some acharya may speak something time, place, and circumstance, but you cannot just say Gurudev said, therefore we accept. We also have to understand nicely this Praman system. Okay. So all books are not accepted by Guru Parampara. Why? Because some are for people who are attracted to karma and jnana. Also, in during the course of time, unscrupulous and untruthful persons have added many chapters and mantras into the Vedas to fulfill various self-interests, like the Devi Bhagavat, the Devi Gita, all these things. We cannot accept them as Vedic. They have been added at a later time. They are called prakshipta. They have been interpolated. We should not, therefore, it is not that we should accept any and every Vedic text as reliable evidence. Those books that the acharyas and the true sampradayas, the Sat sampradayas, have accepted are definitely authoritative. And we should not accept that which has not been recognized by them. Okay? So, which books have been accepted by the Sat Sampradayas? So the Isa, Kena, Katha, Prashna, Mundak, Mandukya, Taitreya, Aitreya, Chandogya, Brihadaranyaka, and Swadhisthana Upanishads. These are, I think, 11 main Upanishads, acceptable. There are also these 6 Sattvic Puranas, like Vishnu Puran, cannot even think now. Anyway, 6 main Puran, Garuda Puran, Vishnu Puran, all these things. So the Upanishads are accepted. That some Tapanis are accepted. The Greeks, some other mandalas and brahmanas, these different sections of Vedic literature, these have been accepted. Tarikena Pravishanat, Rajanatha. Is there any is there any statements from the Vedas that logic and argument have no entrance to spiritual life? Yes, Bhishmadev said, Achinta kalu ye bhavat na tangsta kena yogyat prakriti bi param yat tat achinta lakshanam. The Tarika, logic and argument, have no entrance into transcendental subject matter. Okay, so Brajanath said, I've understood that the Veda is self-manifest, self-evident. The Veda does not need anything else to establish what the Veda says is true. Otherwise, it would be circular. If the Veda is also dependent on something, then that support would also have to depend on something. There would be no end to it. So what the Bhagavatam says, for example, does not need support from any other scripture, because it's the essence of the Veda. No? Mahaprabhu gave the example to Bhattacharya. Stool and bone is unclear, impure. But we use the bone of the conch shell, we use in puja. Also cow dung we use, Veda says, so we accept. Some logicians argue against the Veda, but their efforts are useless. So please explain the second verse of Das Mood. Okay? So can you remember the first verse? Swataha Siddho. Okay, have a little look. It's not so easy. Swataha Siddho Vedo Hari Dayata Vedaha Parimitaha Pramanam Satpraptam Sadayati Visayantat Namavidan. Then Pratya Tattha Pratyakshi Prameti Sadayati Sahitam Sadayatiyana Na Yuktas Tark Akya Praveshiti Tata Sakti Rahita. This is the first verse. Okay. I just started learning yesterday, so it takes a few days. Okay, this is the first verse of Dasmul Tattva dealing with Praman. What's the second? Hari is the absolute truth. Okay. Hari is the Eka Tattvam Vidishiv Suresha Pranamitaha. Hari is the number one Tattva. Brahma, Shiva, Suresh means Indra, Pranamita. They always do pranam to him. Yad evedyam brahm prakati rahitam tatu anumaha. Nivishes Brahma, that is Bhagavan, devoid of Shakti, is Krishna's bodily effulgence. Paratma tasyankso jagat anugata vishva janakaha. To run the universe, Bhagavan has expansion that is called Paramatma. Okay, Mahavishnu is the Paramatma of the entire creation. The super soul of every universe is Garbhadaksaya Vishnu, and the super soul in the heart of every jiva, that is Kirdaksaya Vishnu. So this Paramatma is his expansion, partial expansion. But is that Sri Hari alone, who is the only transcendental reality, whose complexion is the color of a fresh rain cloud, who is Radha Vallabha, the beloved of Radhika? Rain cloud. No, I heard 100 people were killed in India yesterday by lightning. Anyway, that has nothing to do with Krishna. So, Krishna is the Paratattva. Means everything else depends upon its existence upon Krishna. Krishna doesn't depend on anyone, therefore he is the absolute truth, and everything else is relative truth. Okay, so 1, 2. Okay, we have a few pages. Wow. Yes. Anyway, we'll try and finish it today. I think we will. So everyone try and learn these also 10. Maharaj knows them all, this Dasmal Tattva. So we should also a little try. Of course, we do not have his brain, but still, slowly we can do it. Okay, Prema, going to learn? Why should I try? Okay. So, the Upanishads describe the Brahmajyoti, the Brahmani effulgence. What is that? That is the bodily effulgence of Krishna. Okay. So what argument, Lord Chaitanya, I remember when I read that, I become stunned. I remember when I read, what? Because everyone thinks the Brahmajyoti is the absolute truth, but when you hear, no, it also comes from Krishna. That is some good fortune to hear that. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Brahmano hi pratishtaham, I am the source of the Brahman. Like without a light bulb, there's no light. So the light always has a source. Okay. So is there any praman, proof, which establishes that the Brahma Jyoti, the Niveshesh Brahma, is Krishna's bodily effulgence? This is all Sambandha Gyan, okay, what we're hearing now. Everyone and everything is related to Krishna. This is Sambandha Gyan. Okay. So, Sri Hari is certainly Bhagavan. There's not Hari and Bhagavan, Krishna and Bhagavan is the same person. In the Vishnu Purana it describes Aishwarasya Samagrasya Viryasya Yasasasriya Gyan Vairagyas Cheva Sannam Bhaga Itingana. Bhagavan means he who possesses 6 opulences. You know them, Nitya? Let's hear it. It's not one of them, sorry. Beauty, that's last. Yes. Beauty. Okay. Beauty, opulence, strength, fame, knowledge, and renunciation. Okay. So which of these are anga? Anga means like my body is the anga and fingers and toes are the angi. So all other qualities rest in the body of Bhagavan. So which quality is the angi? And which qualities are the angas? You know, Prema? Thank you. Okay. The beauty of Krishna is the resting place of all other qualities. Okay. For example, trees, the angi, and leaves and branches are the angas. Therefore, the principal quality of Bhagavan, which gives shelter to all other qualities, is his Sri, his beauty. The 3 qualities, Aishwarya, Virya, and Yas, strength, opulence, strength, and fame, are angas. You know? So Sri is the anga, gun, the main quality. Sri, then Aishwarya, Viryasya, and Yas. These 3 qualities are angas. And the remaining 2 qualities are qualities of a quality. So they're not even real qualities. They're qualities of the quality of fame. Okay, some interesting knowledge. Okay. Gyan and Vairagya are actually qualities of a quality. They're actually Nirgun Gyan, which is the intrinsic form of the Niveshesh Brahma. That's why Gyan and Vairagya are not real qualities of Bhakti. They're like secondary qualities. With Bhakti comes Gyan and Vairagya, not the other way around. Okay, so the changeless, inactive Niveshesh Brahma, which exists without bodily limbs and so on, is not a complete tattva, because it's the quality of a Krishna. So Niveshesh Brahma is not independent. It depends, like the qualities of Gyan and Vairagya, knowledge and renunciation, depend on the main qualities of Krishna. In the same way, the Niveshesh Brahma depend upon its existence upon the body of Krishna. Nice way of explaining. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is very clever. So, the Niveshesh Brahma is not an independent tattva. It is not a supreme vastu. It does not exist independently. It is a quality of the vastu, quality of Krishna. Okay? So Bhagavan is the vastu. No? Vastu, remember we heard in the first chapter, vas means to reside. So something in which qualities or nature resides, that is called a vastu. So Krishna is the vastu, and the Niveshesh Brahman is simply qualities of a vastu. Right? It has no separate existence separate from the vastu Bhagavan. Right, Prema, understand? Huh? Why not trying to understand? Otherwise, 10 years later, you'll be in the same condition. Okay. Are you reading Jaiva-Dharma? What chapter did you read last? That was many chapters ago. Okay, try and read the chapter before the class, then you're sort of ready for it. So, Brahma is the Vastu, and Brahma is his quality. Just like light of a fire is not separate. Light is not a Vastu. It depends on, it's a quality of the Vastu. So fire is the Vastu and light is the quality. So Brahma, Niveshesh Brahma is not independent. It depends upon Krishna. Okay. So Brajanath, what? The impersonal Niveshesh qualities of Brahma are described in many places. There's always Om Shanti, Hari Om is always used to describe who is Hari. Hari is Radha Krishna. Sri Hari means Radha Krishna. But we'll talk about that more later. So, Krishna pervades everything by his qualities of Aishwarya and Virya. Bhagavan then enters into each universe by his partial expansion, Vishnu. Every expansion of the Lord is also complete. Punamada, Punamidam, Puna, Sridachati. No matter how many complete wholes emanate from the complete whole, the complete whole remains completely whole. Okay, so Vishnu is also a complete expansion. So Vishnu is also the complete whole. Vishnu has three forms. We explained already: Karanadaksaya, Garbhadaksaya, and Kirdaksaya Vishnu. So Mahavishnu, Karadaksaya Vishnu, he's the partial manifestation of Bhagavan. Okay, Malati, stay awake. He rests on the causal ocean, which is situated between, another name is the Viraj, or causal ocean, which is between the material and spiritual world. He rests there and he glances towards Maya. The power of that glance then becomes Garbhadaksaya Vishnu. Inside his glance, example, like a man places a child into the womb of the wife, Bhagavan places the semana, the seed of the living entity, into the womb of Maya, the womb of material nature, by glance. Okay, so the power of that glance, that is Garbhadaksaya Vishnu. Then Garbhadaksaya Vishnu enters into every jiva as super soul, Kirdaksaya Vishnu. But Krishna is the source of all three. There is no doubt that Paramatma is the expansion of Krishna. Okay? Therefore the Upanishads describe in the tree, there are two birds, one is the soul, one is the super soul. So, I understand, Brajanath says, I understand that the Brahman effulgence is Krishna's bodily expansion, bodily effulgence. And Paramatma is Krishna's part. But what proof is there that Bhagavan, Sri Hari, is Krishna? No, already we heard the Vedic statements not clearly say Krishna's name, it's there indirectly. So maybe someone have a doubt. Is Krishna really Sri Hari? Or is he an avatar? Is he something else? Okay, so Babaji explains, Babaji Maharaj says Krishna has two features. Aishwarya and Madhurya, opulence and sweetness. In the feature of Aishwarya, he manifests as Narayan in the Vaikunthas, and his feature as sweetness, he manifests as Krishna, also Lord Chaitanya. But Krishna, okay, there's no difference between Krishna and Narayan in Siddhanta. They are the one tattva. However, when you examine Ras, Krishna is superior. Narayan does not play the flute or do Ras Lila. No? That equality is only in Krishna. Therefore, there is evidence in the Vedas that Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. Apasya Gopam Anipadyanama. We heard this verse already. There was one cowherd boy in the beginning of creation. He never changes. Sometimes he dresses with many different colors, sometimes he wears one color. He comes very close and sometimes he goes very far. So, Ete Changsar Kala Pumsar Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Or when Sutta Goswami spoke this verse, he had already spoken 25 types of incarnations, 25 different incarnations. So that we should not think that Krishna is just another incarnation. Then Sutta Goswami spoke this verse. Ete Changsar. All these others are simply expansions or expansions on expansion. But Swayam Bhagavan, the original source, is Krishna himself. Okay? So Brajanath said, how can Krishna be all-pervading if he has a human-like form? If we accept that he has a form, it means he can only stay in one place at one time. Then he cannot be all-pervading. Right? People think like a sugar cube has a form, but it cannot be all-pervading, but you put it in water, it loses his form, he becomes all-pervading. So okay, Hare Krishna, sorry about that. We don't know what happened. Haribol, is it working? Yeah, for some reason it just turned off. We have no idea what happened. So, if Bhagavan has a form, how can he be all-pervading? If he has a body, he will be limited by Sattva-gun, Rajagun, Tamagun. How can he be independent and limitless? How can this be reconciled? So Babaji says, my dear son, you are using logic and argument. Your mind is limited. Therefore, you are trying to establish Maya conceptions upon Suddha Tattva. Gradually, when the intellect becomes free from these material logic and arguments, then you will understand whatever limitations you are inferring about the transcendental medium-sized form of Krishna are completely unfounded. Formlessness, immutability, unchangeable, means not changing. And inactivity simply compromise the material conception of what is opposite to our conception of material qualities. Right? This is called logic and argument. We see something, all form has a beginning, all form has a creator, all form is limited by time and space. No, all form has function, some purpose. So we think God must be the opposite of matter. So God is formless, without potency, without function, without activity, like this. This is simply using material logic and argument. No? However, Krishna has qualities which are inconceivable qualities which are reconciled within him. For example, his beautiful smiling face, his eyes which are like lotus, his lotus feet which give fearlessness and peace to the devotees, his pure transcendental form, and his limbs and bodies which are just suitable for his pastimes. The medium-sized human form of Krishna is the basis of these two forms, these two qualities of form and pervasiveness. It means in simple language, Krishna is all pervasive and also localized at the same time. Okay. Okay, so anyway, he gives a big explanation. If we're going to finish this chapter today, we won't be able to hear everything. Okay, but just quickly, space is the only unlimited entity we see in this world. Space, direction. So by material estimation, only something which is formless and unlimited can also be all-pervading. In this world, an entity with a medium-sized form cannot be all-pervading. No, we see the space. Oh, space is all-pervading. Therefore, God must be like space, no form, no qualities, no activity. So we think like that. In the spiritual world, all objects and all their natures are unlimited. So Krishna's medium-sized form is also all-pervading. Material objects in this world do not have that quality, but Krishna is not of this world. So this Krishna's medium-sized form is supramundane. All-pervading Brahma does not have the same qualities as Krishna. Material substances are always limited by time and place. If an entity who is naturally beyond the effects of time is compared to the all-pervading sky, this is not his glories. This is a material conception. So that Krishna's Jaiva-Dharma is non-different than the Brahmapur mentioned in the Chandogya Upanishad. Everything in the spiritual world, the sky, water, buildings, people, animals, trees, creepers, sky, moon. In Braj there's also moon and sun there also, but all is transcendental and devoid of material shortcomings. Even in Goloka Vrindavan, there's also demigods that play the role of Brahma and Shiva, but they also have purely spiritual bodies. Conscious pleasure is always present in its fullest form. This Mayapur Navadvip is the same as that Brajapur, Vrindavan, but now you are bound by Maya, you cannot see it. When by the mercy of sadhus and saints you become free from the coverings of Maya, you will perceive it properly. Rajana said, yes. But how Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes are manifest in the material world? So Babaji says, Krishna possessed of unlimited potencies, he can make the impossible possible, but the whole spiritual world can appear here in its original form without any transmutation. Okay. Krishna is unlimited, how the devotee can perceive him? Babaji says Krishna's all qualities. His best quality is Bhakti Vatsalita. When Krishna's heart melts, he bestows Ladini Shakti. Upon the devotee, they can have vision of that which is unlimited. Then Brajana asks, that means Krishna not came to give mercy to all souls, but only to those souls who are qualified. Babaji explains anyway, by gradual process, by hearing and gradually by sadhana, everyone will achieve qualification one day. Brajanath asks, why Krishna Lila is not described directly in the Vedas? Babaji says the pastimes of this Krishna are described here and there. In some places directly, like the Gopal Tapani Upanishad and others. Some places directly, other places indirectly. No, the Veda have two understanding. All this Mahaprabhu explained to Sarvabhauma, Lakshan Vritti and Avidya Vritti, direct meaning and indirect. But both direct and indirect both point to Krishna. Okay, if you want to understand this nicely, Mahaprabhu explained everything to Sarvabhauma in his explanation of Gaudiya Vedanta. So Brajanath said, there's no doubt that Sri Hari, Bhagavan and Sri Krishna is the same person. He is the Padatattva. But what about the demigods like Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Surya and Ganesh? I am from a Brahmin family. We also worship Mahadev, Lord Shiva as the topmost. I want to know the truth. So Babaji explained 64 qualities in Krishna. Okay? Now, if I say all these 64 qualities, Taruni's brain will melt as she translates them into Russian. But a little bit we can hear, they're very nice qualities. Krishna has 64 qualities. The Jiva has 50-50, partially. Demigods have 55. Other incarnations like Narayan has 60. And Krishna has all 64. Time is not really there. Have they started Prasad? So the Jiva has 55 qualities. Okay. including being friendly, shy, modest, protector of the souls, happy, one of Krishna's qualities, happy. He is controlled by prema. He is a pleasing speaker. He is intelligent. Many qualities of Krishna. He knows all languages. Anyway, he's eternally youthful. 55 qualities in the Jiva. Demigods have 5 extra qualities which we do not have. What is that? And these qualities are also partial. They are always situated in his Sarup. Like Brahma never changes bodies, for example. Shiva never changed bodies. He is omniscient, partially omniscient. What they need to know, they know. Of course, what Krishna wants to hide from them, they cannot know that. They're ever fresh and new. You never see a picture of Shiva in a wheelchair or with false teeth. Number 54, concentrated form of Satchidananda, of course partially compared to Krishna. And they have many mystic opulences, self-explanatory. So Narayan has 5 qualities not present in the demigods. He is the Shaktiman, possessor of unlimited potencies. He can create many universes from within his body. He is the cause of all other incarnations. To those he kills, he gives high destination. And he can attract the liberated souls towards himself. And 4 qualities in Krishna which are not present in any other incarnation: flute playing, Lila Madhuri, sweet pastimes, Prema Madhuri, only Krishna controlled by Prema, and not other incarnations, not like that. And finally, one more, super excellent beauty, form. Okay, so Krishna has all 64, fully. So the demigods like Shiva, Brahma, Ganesh, Chandra and others, the moon god, they're endowed partially with Bhagavan's qualities to run the affairs of the material universe. By their constitutional nature, they are servants of Bhagavan. They are the guru of the jivas, the demigods. They bestow upon the jiva one-pointed bhakti. Like in Jaiva-Dharma, in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Surup, he got mantra from Durga. So they are always worshipped as the gurus for the jivas, for they mercifully bestow upon them one-pointed Krishna bhakti. Especially Shiva. Mahadev is the controller of all the demigods. He is so complete in Bhagavad Bhakti, he is considered non-different from Bhagavan. That is why the Mayavadis worship him as Parabrahma. Okay, we finished. Unfortunately, the class was split into 2 pieces. I don't know why. The computer did something very strange. Okay, so people can study these 2 verses of Dasmal Shiksha, try and learn them. Okay, Achyutananda also said he would learn them, but I know he hasn't. So today people can read again chapter 13, try and learn these 3 verses of Dasmal Tattva, that is the sutra and the first 2 which deal with Prameya and with Hari as the absolute truth. Chapter 14, Shakti Tattva, Sarva Shaktim, that is the 3rd point, that is the 3rd Prameya. Okay. So chapter 14, Shakti Tattva, day after tomorrow, same time. Hare Krishna, thank you very much.